If I told you that in just 5 seconds, you could ignite a shift so deep that the way you think, feel, and act would never be the same, would you dare to try it right now? For years, you may have been living on autopilot, reacting to every challenge, as if it defines you, letting stress dictate your choices and allowing doubts to quietly write the script of your days. You wake up already feeling behind. You catch yourself overthinking every decision. And even in moments of silence, your mind keeps replaying old mistakes or predicting the worst. That endless mental noise becomes so familiar, you start to believe it is who you are. But what if that belief is the very thing keeping you stuck? There is a part of you far more powerful than the stream of thoughts racing through your head. It is the clear, steady presence that notices what you think and how you feel without being swept away. Psychologists call it the observer, and neuroscience proves its power. Harvard research shows that pausing for as little as 5 to 10 seconds to notice your inner state activates the prefrontal cortex. It's a part of your brain responsible for conscious, wise decision-making. That means in those few seconds, you can step out of automatic reactions and choose a different path. Imagine living with that kind of clarity, making choices from calm strength rather than fear. Actor Jim Carrey once described writing himself a check for $10 million years before he had it, not as a fantasy, but as an act of deep awareness and certainty about who he was becoming. He wasn't waiting for proof to believe. He decided to see himself differently first. That same ability is within you, but most never tap into it because they never pause to meet themselves beyond the noise. So before you scroll past, ask yourself, with complete honesty, have you ever truly seen yourself? The you that exists beyond thought and emotion? And if the answer is no, the real question becomes this: you have never seen who you really are. How will you even know where to begin? Right now, in this exact moment, there is one undeniable truth about you that needs no proof and no permission. You are breathing. It might seem so ordinary that you overlook it completely, yet this simple act is the gateway to meeting the real you beyond the endless noise of thought. Your breath is not in the past and it is not in the future. It happens only here, now. When you turn your attention toward it, you anchor yourself into the present in a way that no distraction can pull you from. This is not about forcing anything or trying to control what you feel. It is about becoming aware that you exist before any reaction, before any story. Neuroscience from UCLA has shown that focusing on the breath can reduce activity in the amygdala by up to 40%, which means the brain's threat alarm quiets, giving you room to think clearly and respond with choice rather than compulsion. That pause is the first door to emotional freedom. Close your eyes for a second and feel the cool air as you inhale, the warmth as you exhale, the gentle rise and fall of your chest. Without judgment, without chasing a different state, simply witness the rhythm that has been sustaining you since the day you were born. This is the same rhythm that can carry you through chaos if you remember to return to it. There was a former soldier from the United States who carried the invisible scars of war. Night after night, he woke in fear, his body trapped in a loop of survival even years after leaving the battlefield. It was through the practice of mindful breathing that he began to retrain his nervous system. By focusing on each inhale and exhale, his mind slowly learned that the present moment was safe, that he was no longer in danger. Over time, the panic softened, the nights became calmer, and he felt a steadiness he thought he had lost forever. You have this same ability within you. You do not need years of training to begin. Only a decision to notice what is already happening. In this very second, take a deep breath, feel the air filling your lungs, and recognize that you are alive, grounded, and capable of seeing more clearly than you ever imagined. This is how you start, by coming home to the truth that you are more than your thoughts, more than your feelings. You are the awareness that sees them. So the question is If you can access this calm in a single breath, what will you do the next time a powerful wave of emotion tries to take over? When the surge of emotion rises like a sudden storm, it can feel as if you are trapped inside its winds, powerless to do anything but be carried away. Yet the truth is, you are not the storm. You are the open sky that holds it. The clouds may gather, lightning may flash, rain may pour, but the sky remains vast, steady, untouched at its core. This is the perspective that frees you from being consumed by what you feel. The moment you sense a wave of anger, fear, or frustration building, you can choose to pause, breathe, and witness. The pause is your anchor, breaking the chain of automatic reaction. The breath brings you back into your body, calming your system. The witness is the part of you that observes without judgment, allowing the emotion to pass like weather rather than letting it define who you are. Stanford research shows that delaying a reaction by just 2 to 3 seconds increases the likelihood of making a wise decision by 67%, proving that the space you create between feeling and action is where clarity lives. Oprah Winfrey once shared a moment when she was publicly criticized in a way that could have easily provoked an emotional outburst. Instead of defending herself instantly, she took a step back, allowed herself to feel the sting without acting on it, and responded later with a composed clarity that not only preserved her dignity, but turned the moment into an example of strength. You have this same ability. The next time you feel the pull to lash out or shut down, imagine yourself as the sky and the emotion as a cloud passing through. You do not need to push it away, nor do you need to hold on to it. You simply let it move across the vastness of your awareness. This is not avoidance, it is mastery. It is choosing to let the intensity pass before you decide how to respond. So, the next time life tests you, remember that storms are temporary, but the sky remains. Stand as that sky, and you will discover a calm center that no circumstance can shake. And from that place of calm, you can act with intention instead of impulse. So if you can remain steady in the middle of the storm, what will you do when the echoes of the past try to pull you back into fear? Your present reactions often feel like they are about what is happening right now. But in truth, many of them are echoes from a time long past, shaped by moments that left deep marks in your mind and body. The brain stores emotional memories differently, from neutral events, embedding them not only in neural pathways, but also in physical sensations and automatic responses. When something today resembles those old moments, even faintly, the nervous system triggers the same survival patterns you used back then, as if the danger has returned. Dr. Bessel van der Kolk, author of The Body Keeps the Score, has shown through decades of research that emotional memories live in the body, and that conscious awareness can release their hold. This means you are not doomed to repeat the same cycles forever. You can meet these echoes with clarity instead of being ruled by them. One simple yet powerful practice is to name the memory when it appears. If you feel a sudden wave of fear or sadness, pause and say to yourself, "This is a memory of when I felt unsafe, not a fact about this moment." By calling it what it is, you separate the past from the present. That small act dissolves some of its power, creating space for a different choice. There was a woman in New York who carried a deep wound from childhood abandonment. Every time someone canceled plans or didn't return a message, she felt an intense wave of rejection. At first, she thought it was just part of who she was. But when she learned to recognize it as an old story replaying, she stopped letting it dictate her behavior. Over time, she rebuilt her confidence, pursued her vision, and grew $1 million business from the ground up, not by erasing her past, but by refusing to let it define her. The truth is, the past only has the influence you give it. It is not your identity unless you keep breathing life into it. Every time you recognize an emotional reaction as an echo rather than a command, you take back authority over your present. You are not your old chapters. You are the author of the one you are living now. The decision to reclaim that authorship is yours alone. So if you are ready to withdraw the power you once gave those old stories, how will you now create the real and lasting change you seek? Change does not live in the vague promise of tomorrow. It exists only in the choice you make right now. Waiting for the perfect day, the perfect mood, or the perfect plan is how most people stay exactly where they are for years. The truth is, transformation often begins so small it almost feels insignificant. Yet those small beginnings carry the weight to reshape your entire life. This is the power of the micro shift, the smallest possible action taken consistently until it builds a momentum you can no longer ignore. You do not need to overhaul everything at once. You only need to commit to a step so small you cannot fail to take it, and then repeat it until it becomes part of you. Research shared by James Clear in Atomic Habits shows that improving by just 1% each day compounds into being 37 times better over the course of a single year. That is not theory, it is mathematics, and it is the reason why. Doing something minimal but consistent will always beat doing something extreme only once. Think of a man in America who had carried excess weight for most of his adult life. The idea of running or even going to a gym felt overwhelming, so he chose to begin by walking for 5 minutes a day. Nothing more. There was no dramatic transformation. At first, no sudden burst of motivation, but he stayed with it. 5 minutes became 10, 10 became 20, and within months he noticed his energy returning. Over 2 years, those walks grew into runs. And eventually, he completed a marathon, not because he was chasing an image of instant success, but because he honored the smallest step every single day. Your mind might try to tell you that small steps do not matter, that they are too insignificant to bring real change, but that is the voice of delay disguised as logic. Every action is a vote for the person you are becoming. When you choose the micro shift, you choose progress over perfection, momentum over stagnation. The change is not waiting for you in some distant future. It is built in the moment you decide to start. There is no guarantee you will feel ready, and you do not need to feel ready. You need to act, because action creates clarity, and clarity fuels the next step. Do something today that your future self will thank you for, no matter how small it seems now. This is the switch you control, and once you flip it, you set into motion a chain of events that can rewrite your life. The only moment you can influence is the one in front of you, and the only decision that matters is the one you make now. So if you already know the action you need to take, the question becomes, how will you keep the fire burning so that step by step you never lose the drive to continue? Motivation is not a rare treasure you stumble upon when luck is on your side. It is a force you forge through deliberate focus and a clear vision of who you are becoming. Waiting for it to appear is like waiting for the wind to push your sails without ever leaving the shore. The way to ignite and sustain it begins with creating a vivid mental image of your future self. An image so detailed, it feels more real than the doubts trying to pull you back. This image becomes your compass, guiding you through days when discipline feels heavy and progress seems slow. It is not just about seeing the end result. It is about stepping into the emotional experience of already living it. Research from Yale University shows that when people visualize their goals while generating positive emotions as if they have already achieved them, their likelihood of reaching those goals increases by 45%. This combination of mental clarity and emotional energy creates a state where your brain and body align with the outcome you are moving toward. Every time you rehearse that reality in your mind, you train your nervous system to recognize it as familiar, making the actions to reach it feel more natural. There was a young man in Detroit who grew up in a neighborhood where opportunities seemed scarce and the future felt uncertain. Each morning before leaving for work at a low-paying job, He would close his eyes and imagine himself wearing the uniform of an engineer, standing proudly in an office he had designed himself. He would not just see it, he would feel the pride. In his chest, the relief of security, the quiet satisfaction of knowing he had created a life he once thought impossible. That vision pulled him forward when exhaustion and doubt tried to slow him down. Years later, he stepped into that very role, in that very kind of office, living the scene he had practiced countless times in his mind. You have the same power. The spark you are looking for is already in you, waiting for you to fan it with focus and feeling. Do not wait for an external push, become the source. Start your day by stepping into the vision of your best self and letting the emotion of that reality guide every choice you make. This is how you become the flame that lights your own path. When you radiate that energy, the world responds, drawn toward the heat and clarity you carry. So if you can create this fire from within, the question now is, how will you turn it into a magnetic force that draws the right people, opportunities, and outcomes directly to you? You are not merely moving through life as a silent passenger. You are constantly broadcasting a signal that shapes the experiences and people you encounter. Every thought you entertain, every emotion you sustain, every belief you hold sends out an energetic frequency, and the world around you responds in kind. This is not wishful thinking. It is the principle of resonance found in quantum physics, where vibrations of similar frequency naturally align. In human terms, it means that your dominant emotional state, your emotional set point, acts like the channel your life is tuned to. If your set point is frustration or scarcity, you unconsciously draw situations that reinforce those feelings. If your set point is gratitude, trust, or joy, you create conditions for more of those experiences to appear. Positive psychology research supports this, showing that a person's baseline emotion influences their perception, creativity, and ability to recognize opportunities. The good news is your set point is not fixed. You can shift it through intentional practice. Begin by noticing the emotions you spend most of your day in. Then, choose small, repeatable actions that evoke the state you want. It might be keeping a gratitude journal, taking 5 minutes to recall moments of genuine joy, or surrounding yourself with environments that elevate your mood. These practices gradually rewire your nervous system so that elevated emotions become your default. There was a single mother in Texas who felt trapped in a cycle of stress and survival. Every day was about getting through rather than moving forward. One day, she decided to change her inner climate before trying to change her outer circumstances. She began each morning by focusing on one thing she appreciated, then carried that feeling into her interactions. Within months, she noticed people treating her differently, opportunities emerging without her chasing them. And eventually, she was offered a business partnership that completely transformed her financial reality. She did not force the world to change. She changed the frequency she was sending out. You have the same ability. You are a transmitter, and your life is the feedback. If you want a different reflection, adjust the signal. The shift may be subtle at first, but as your emotional set point rises, so will the quality of your experiences. You do not have to wait for life to get better to feel better. By feeling better now, you set the stage for life to get better. Your signal is being received every moment, whether you are aware of it or not. Choose what you want it to be. You are the broadcast, and the world is listening. So if everything around you mirrors the energy you project, how will you decide what you truly want to see reflected back at you? What you choose to look at, consciously or unconsciously, will grow in your awareness until it becomes the lens through which you see the entire world. Your focus is the fuel that feeds your reality, and the mind is constantly filtering the endless stream of information around you based on what it believes matters to you most. This is not just a metaphor. It is a proven function of your brain. The famous invisible gorilla experiment by Simons and Chabris revealed that people can fail to notice something as obvious as a person in a gorilla suit walking through a scene when their attention is locked on counting basketball passes. The brain simply deletes what it does not think is important. Meaning your experience of reality is shaped less by what is actually there and more by what you choose to notice. If you want to see more opportunity, more progress, more evidence that your vision is possible, you must deliberately direct your attention toward it. One powerful way to do this is by choosing 3 things each day to actively observe that are connected to your goal. If your aim is to grow your business, you might decide to notice any conversation about market trends, any sign of potential collaboration, and any new idea that sparks innovation. If your focus is on improving health, your 3 observations might be moments you feel energized, examples of nourishing food, and signs your body is getting stronger. By doing this daily, you train your brain to prioritize and collect proof that supports your chosen outcome. Over time, you will see patterns and possibilities that you might have overlooked before. There was a startup founder in Silicon Valley who used this exact method when building her company. Instead of drowning in the chaos of countless decisions, she selected 3 focus points each morning. Some days, it was identifying a new investor lead, spotting an efficiency improvement, and noticing customer feedback trends. Other days, it was finding a new source of inspiration, refining a single product feature, and recognizing a moment when her team worked in perfect sync. By deliberately choosing her focus, she stopped wasting energy on distractions and started stacking evidence of progress. Within 2 years, her company crossed the $1 million mark. Not because she worked harder than everyone else, but because she invested her attention where it mattered most. This is the power of selective focus. What you consistently notice becomes familiar, and what is familiar begins to feel achievable. This is how belief is built, not by blind hope, but by gathering real-world proof that aligns with your desired future. The challenge is that your mind will still try to pull your focus toward problems, drama, and anything that triggers fear or doubt. This is why you must guard your attention like the rare resource it is. Ask yourself daily, is this thought or observation feeding the reality I want to create, or is it draining me toward what I do not want? The more you practice, the more natural it becomes to notice what empowers you rather than what limits you. Every glance, every observation, every chosen moment of attention is a seed you are planting. The question is, are you planting weeds or are you planting trees that will bear the fruit you desire? Your eyes are the gateway to your reality, and every moment you get to choose what passes through that gate. Choose carefully, because what you feed with focus will grow roots and shape the landscape of your life. So if you have already chosen the right things to focus on each day, how will you now develop the unshakable belief that what you see and work toward will inevitably become your reality? Belief is the invisible foundation upon which every lasting change is built, the unseen architecture that supports the life you are creating. It acts as a filter, shaping not only how you interpret events, but also how you respond to them. What opportunities you recognize and which ones you dismiss. When you believe something is possible, your mind begins scanning for evidence to confirm it, directing your energy toward actions that align with that possibility. When your belief is limited, the same mechanism works against you, filtering out anything that contradicts the ceiling you have set for yourself. The good news is that belief is not fixed. It can be replaced, expanded, and strengthened through intentional choice and repeated proof. Science has proven the power of belief through the placebo effect, where patients given inactive substances show measurable improvements simply because they expect to get better. Their bodies respond to the belief as if it were fact, activating real physiological changes. This is not a trick. It is the mind and body working in harmony to produce the result that the belief has already accepted as true. The same principle applies to every area of your life. If you believe you are capable of creating financial security, building health, or finding meaningful relationships, Your daily actions and emotional energy will shift toward making those outcomes inevitable. There was an American athlete who suffered a severe injury, one that experts said would likely end his career. Instead of surrendering to that prediction, he chose to believe, with absolute conviction, that he would return to competition stronger than before. Every day, he visualized himself running, training, and crossing the finish line. And every rehab session became an act of reinforcing that belief. Within 6 months, he was back on the track, competing at a level that stunned even his coaches. His body followed the path his mind had already walked countless times. This is the power you carry when belief becomes unshakable. But unshakable. Belief is not about pretending challenges do not exist. It is about seeing them as temporary conditions rather than permanent limitations. It is choosing to hold the image of the outcome so firmly that the current reality cannot convince you. Otherwise, the stronger the belief, the less you depend on constant external proof, and the more the external world begins to conform to what you have already accepted as true inside. The challenge is to replace limiting beliefs with empowering ones, and this starts by asking yourself what assumptions you have been carrying that are quietly keeping you small. Write them down, challenge their truth, and replace them with statements that open doors instead of closing them. Repeat these new beliefs until they feel more natural than the old ones. Align your actions with them so that every choice you make reinforces the new foundation. Belief is not passive hope. It is an active commitment to living as if your desired future is already on its way. The more you embody that reality now, the faster it takes shape around you. Belief is the halfway point between idea and manifestation. The bridge you must cross to turn vision into fact. So if you already believe with every part of you, the question becomes, what is the final step you will take to ensure that belief solidifies into undeniable reality? Letting go is not the same as giving up. It is the act of releasing the tight grip that strangles the very outcome you are trying to create. When you hold on with fear or desperation, you send out a signal of lack, a message that you do not yet have what you want and are afraid you never will. That energy repels the flow of opportunities and solutions that could naturally move toward you. Letting go is about trust, about creating space for the result to arrive without you constantly interfering or forcing it. It does not mean you stop caring or stop taking action. It means you shift from tense pursuit to open allowance. You continue to do the work, but you release the obsessive need to control how and when the result appears. In psychology, this release mirrors the state known as flow, a mental state where effort feels effortless, creativity soars, and performance can increase by up to 500% according to research on peak performance. Flow happens when you are fully immersed in what you are doing without the heavy weight of overthinking or constant checking. It is the space where the best ideas arrive, the right people seem to appear, and progress accelerates without the friction of resistance. There was an American author who spent years chasing publishers, sending proposal after proposal, and feeling more discouraged with each rejection. Finally, she decided to stop the chase. She shifted her focus entirely to writing stories she loved, pouring her energy into the craft rather than the hunt. Within months of this change, a major publishing house reached out to her, having discovered her work through a friend of a friend. She had not given up on her dream. She had simply released the pressure around it, and in doing so, she made room for it to find her. This is the paradox of letting go. When you no longer cling, the things you desire have the freedom to come toward you. It requires trust in the process, belief in your worthiness, and a willingness to allow the timing to unfold naturally. To practice this, look at your goal through the lens of gratitude rather than longing. Instead of focusing on the absence of it, feel appreciation for its presence in your life as if it is already here. This emotional shift tells your mind and EI, This emotional shift tells your mind and body that the need has been met, dissolving the tension that pushes it away. Continue to take inspired action, but do it from a place of fullness, not lack. Letting go is not passive. It is an active choice to hold your vision lightly while living fully in the present. It is stepping back enough for the bigger picture to reveal itself. In doing so, you align yourself with the very conditions that make your outcome possible. So now, if you have walked this journey of awareness, focus, belief, and aligned action, the final step is to open your hands and trust that what is meant for you will arrive. Allow the universe, life, or whatever name you give to the greater flow to surprise you. Stop gripping so tightly, and you will discover that the very thing you have been chasing has been moving towards you all along. If this message has touched something inside you, take a moment to follow this channel. Share it with someone who needs to hear it. And know that I am deeply grateful you chose to spend these moments here. Among the countless videos you could have watched today,